Now, pretty much everybody loves the Lego Movie, and I'm certainly no exception to that. This is an absolutely wonderful film, and it's packed full of great comedy, amazing visuals, and fantastic allusions to the real world. But the sequel to this critically acclaimed film hasn't received the same level of appreciation. In fact, this film was so not welcomed by the public that it ended up being Warner Animation's first ever financial flop, and caused the company to cut ties with Lego altogether. And I think that's a colossal shame because, and here comes the premise of the whole video, the Lego Movie 2 is a better Lego movie. Now, notice I didn't say it's a better movie of the whole, but specifically that it's a better Lego movie. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean by this, so allow me to explain in far greater detail than you'd ever need or want to know. The first Lego Movie burst onto the scenes with a heartfelt message that surprised most audience members who expected the film to be little more than an advertisement for the company's signature toys. But to the surprise of many, but not me, Lego, I always had faith in you, the film turned out to be a profound and entertaining one outside of its brand awareness. In this case, though, the world was later justified for its initial skepticism, as a torrent of cinematic garbage would soon follow, doing that very thing we were glad the Lego Movie didn't. Namely, wasting people's time with pointless, confusing, shameless 90-minute commercials. The Ugly Dolls movie, the Playmobil movie, and lest we forget the Snake Eyes movie. And so because of this, the original Lego Movie still holds quite a lot of esteem in people's minds for its willingness to have actual themes. But here's the big question, and fasten your seatbelts because this one's more climacteric than the God equation. Are they Lego themes? Mainly the first film seems to focus on the themes of government surveillance, the blending of corporations with the government, and capitalism in general. Now, I'm no expert, but these don't seem like very Lego-y themes to me. Now, of course, there is the central theme of being able to use your imagination instead of just following the instructions, and I admit that's on the precipice of being a Lego theme, kind of. But it's not brand-specific, really. I mean, you could have a movie about any building toy with the same message, but what film has a message far more tailored to the specific brand that uses coded lingo associated with that brand, and is laden with metaphors that directly correlate to it? Ah yes, the Lego Movie, the second part. Okay, even I'll admit, Lego, you're not winning any awards for creativity with the title here. But before I can really dive into it, there's a question that hasn't been answered, and that question is about my credentials. I can't exactly go on talking like I'm some kind of expert on Lego and what themes ought to be, without first establishing my position and experience with this product. I've been a fan of Lego pretty much my whole life. I still remember the first Lego set I ever got, which was this thing that I still don't really understand. It's a mining motorcycle. You know, all those motorcycles they use. In mines. With buzzsaws for wheels. Powered by crystals. But ever since then, I've been a lifelong fan of this product, and I've come to love Legos. Now, when I say I like Legos, I don't mean I like those UCS Star Wars sets that can be passed off as an adult hobby, oh no. I mean I like Legos in the sense that this is what my desk looks like. So I feel I'm the perfect person to dissect the theme of the Lego Movie sequel, and I promise this will all make sense by the end of the video. Now, most people who are fans of Lego can relate to this, but around the age of 16, I started to feel like Lego was just too childish a hobby to maintain. I mean, after all, it's hard to attract the babes if you've got a volcano layer with a lime green laser beam on your shelf. At a certain age, it's just not cool anymore. Now, the reason I say most Lego fans can relate to this is because it's such a widespread phenomenon that there's even a phrase for it among the community. This period of tossing out your Legos for the sake of coolness is known as the Dark Ages. Now, some people after their Dark Ages move on to other hobbies that are similar, like collecting Warhammer figures or something, but the rest of us stay true to our hearts, and we make our entire basement into a shrine to that highly sophisticated interlocking brick system. Or toy. I mean, that's really what it is, it's a toy. We'll come back to this later, but for now, let us move on to the film. The Lego Movie 2 came out in 2019 to a pretty lukewarm reception, with many critics and audience members alike viewing the film as less original and entertaining than the first one. Now, I'm loath to depart from the critics on this one, but I have to wonder if they were awake during the movie. Because if this film is boring and unoriginal to you, then I don't really know what can be done for you. I mean, they pulled off just about every trick they could think of to make this a wonderfully unique joyride of an experience that's packed to the rafters with all sorts of new and interesting elements. I mean, this movie doesn't stand still for 1 second. In the first 10 minutes, you go from an alien invasion to a Mad Max dystopia to a starfaring quest for an intergalactic queen, and that's all before you get to the time travel. This movie offers an insane amount of freshness that keeps you on your toes. Lest we forget that beautiful sequence a third of the way through the film when it becomes a musical out of nowhere, and Not Evil's a real banger, if I do say so myself. Not to mention that, in my opinion, this movie is actually even funnier than the first one.
You could teach me! Rex, help me rescue my friends, stop Armageddon, and teach me to be like you, someone Lucy will be proud of, and I'll be the brother you never had! Unless you do have a brother, I don't really know you that well.
And on top of all that, this movie doesn't even bore you with the credits. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this movie has the longest credit song of all time that goes on for 13 minutes, all the while making jokes the entire time. But unfortunately, here we come to an impasse of sorts, because we're going to have to get into spoilers, so if that's not your thing, you might want to go. Is the spoiler crowd gone? Okay guys, so how hilarious is it that a movie that dedicates an entire character and villain song to making fun of twist villains has a twist villain?
Wait, if you guys are good, then who's the bad guy?
And yes, that's pretty much what this video hinges on. Rex Dangervest. A magnificent character all the way down to his gloriously dumb name.
Let me show you around. Hey, you broke my ship. Listen, kid, you can build anything, but there ain't nothing you can't break.
This is easily the best antagonist this film series has ever churned out in more ways than one. I mean, believe me, we'll get to the writing and the symbolism. After all, that's the whole point of the video. But I've got to say, this character is fantastic. First of all, he's hilarious.
Where's Cobra? Rocky? Quaid! Ripley! Connor! The other one.
But second of all, this guy is a total celebration of this film's absurdity. He has a spaceship shaped like a fist, he has an army of velociraptors, and he seems to subsist on a diet of nothing but energy drinks. Pretty much everything you'd need to know about this guy's personality is in the first line of dialogue he speaks in the film.
Hey, you mind if I save your life?
Now, for those of you who are unaware and don't care about spoilers, in the story, Emmett believes that the queen of a supposedly evil empire has kidnapped his friends, when in reality she's just invited them to a wedding. When Emmett tries to travel across the galaxy to save them, he ends up getting stranded and is saved by Rex. It turns out, however, that Rex is from the future and is actually the version of Emmett who got lost in space and ended up being thrown under the dryer because there was no one there to save him. I know it's convoluted, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be. But anyways, Rex is the supposedly grown-up version of Emmett. He's boastful, hyper-masculine, and rather than building sets like the characters from the previous film, his superpower is his ability to destroy them. Emmett ends up wanting to be like Rex and becomes more and more sinister as he does. Eventually, it's revealed that Rex's ultimate plan is something called Armageddon. The details aren't important, but it basically will result in all of the Lego figures being thrown away forever. So let's dissect this character and his themes and finally answer the question of why the Lego Movie 2 is the best one. Now, it should be pretty obvious by now, but Rex represents the desire to be seen as cool. They pull this off masterfully in that Rex is specifically a teenager's idea of what being cool is, since this is supposed to be a metaphor for Finn, the kid actually playing with the Legos' desire to be looked at as a grown-up. He's a total stereotype of what a little boy thinks of as an adult. He wears all blue, he's got a boy band haircut, and everything he drives is some souped-up monster truck-looking thing. One hilarious detail of this character that helps to characterize him even outside the film itself is that his spaceship has a sticker on it that says 16+, and the actual Lego set is only 10+. And to me, that's amazing. Now, I hate to pause the video here, but I've just realized that there's nowhere near enough of that glorious trivia that typifies a For-Shame video, so allow me to briefly correct that error. Stephanie Beatriz, who plays Sweet Mayhem in the film, has a scar above her eye that was ironically caused by tripping on a Lego set. In that same vein, according to the Smithsonian, stepping on a Lego brick is actually more painful than stepping on hot coals or broken glass. And finally, the word Lego is derived from the Danish phrase Legot, which means play well, and was adopted as the company's slogan for decades. Okay, that should do it. Now, I debated on whether or not to make this into an episode of the Twist Villains series, and I probably still will, but I had to mention that this character has one of the most adorable hints toward his villainy in all of animation. Emmett, who wears a safety vest, has an arch-enemy named Dangervest. And that is just beautiful. But I'm sure you're all waiting for me to get to the point, so here it is. Rex is the version of Emmett who threw away the childish things he enjoyed for greater social acceptance, and in the process became a much worse person for it. And in that sense, this entire film serves as a perfect metaphor for the Dark Ages that I mentioned earlier. So many people toss aside things that they genuinely like for the sake of others and end up becoming jerks and posers because of it. Rex perfectly encapsulates this as he embodies the overcompensating, hyper-masculine attitude so regularly adopted by people as a shield for who and what they really are. To make the metaphor as clear as day, his desire to rid his house of Legos and become a cool guy was all born from a period of time that he spent in the darkness under the dryer, what some would call a dark age. And so the reason I think that this film is a better Lego movie is because it tackles a very Lego theme. The film's message is far more tailored to the actual product that the film is promoting, and to boot, it's a message for both adult fans and kids who like Legos. The best part is that, unlike the first film, anyone who's ever liked Legos will be able to fully understand and appreciate the themes of this one. And so that's why I hold up this film as the best Lego movie of all. And one last thing. To any of my viewers who are going through a dark age of their own, whether it's Lego or anything else, a card game, a TV show, just remember, it's way better to be true to yourself and be happy than it is to give it up for a cool aesthetic and end up as Dan Bilzerian. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This movie holds a special place in my heart because it was the first film I ever watched with the love of my life, so it means a lot to me, and I'm really glad that I can share my thoughts on it with you all. Like the video if you liked it, or dislike the video if you didn't like it. Leave me a comment to let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you soon. That's all for now.
Pew pew.